data, they have a file containing all the user information. That's why there is capabilities for the roles, and you can say whether you trust your teachers to do that or not. So you can modify that in the roles. You can give them the ability to save user data. So just look in the role configuration. I think it's off by default because we're trying to protect privacy. There's a lot of capabilities, I know, but it's kind of necessary to have all this functionality. What's the second question?
Basically, which are the requirements to become a Moodle parent?
Well, first thing is to go to moodle.com, read about it, and there is an application form, and you can put your information in there, and then it's a very long process of discussion and certification. That's the best thing, yeah. And, yeah, start there, moodle.com.
Do you have any question?
No, I think we went through my questions, but I appreciate all the positive feedback about Moodle. It keeps me going. But when I get back home, I'm only focused on the bad things. So I kind of need a positive boost to keep working on all the problems. But I feel for every one of you who hits a problem in Moodle, a difficult area. Rest assured, we all want to fix those things. Anything you can do to help us, and even just telling us, or going into the Moodle tracker and even doing a little search, and maybe you find an issue that someone has already said they are having the same problem, or there's something they don't like, or there's something that could be better, to go in there and vote on it, or make a comment and give more information, so maybe an example or a screenshot, that always helps. Just keep putting that information in there, because that's what we usually work with to determine what to fix next. So your help is always needed. And I apologise that the development language of Moodle is English. You have to pick something. That's the easiest for me. But you know, you have to pick one language, because if you have source code that's got French and Norwegian and Russian and Japanese, it's impossible. So, unfortunately, you do have to use English to interface with developers. And I apologise, but there's no other way.
Sí, mire, Martín, nosotros más que quejas es como necesidades. Por ejemplo, nosotros vemos ya algunas actividades que son más sincrónicas, como por ejemplo el chat. Y queremos preguntarte si de pronto ese esquema constructivista va a ir a un esquema más conectivista, donde podamos ver más actividades tipo live learning, sincrónicas, que permitan al profesor interactuar, más como lo que hoy en día es las redes sociales y temáticas de live learning, para que Moodle evolucione esas temáticas.
So what I understood from that was when you were talking about synchronous, did you mean like voice communications? Did you mean, when you say synchronous, did you mean voice?
Sí,
live
sí.
communications?
Actividades sincrónicas, voz y de pronto imagen.
Yes. These are very hard to do with a PHP program. Moodle is PHP, the language, so it's a bunch of scripts. Put it on a server. It's also it's possible probably, but it's a huge project of its own. And so we don't need to do that, because there are other open source projects around, and commercial. So I would recommend looking at Big Blue Button as an open source project that does quite good audio, visual, whiteboard discussions, and we use that ourselves in Moodle for discussions. And it's open source, and they're great friends of ours, and I would recommend them. There are also many commercial packages, Adobe Connect Pro, like you can use Google Hangouts even. There's nothing really perfect yet. I think that whole group of software, there's still none of them are perfect. But they all have integrations for Moodle. So So people have written plugins. The Big Blue Button system, for example, there is a Moodle plugin that makes it a seamless part of your Moodle site. And I would use that. As for other social networking stuff, there's many ways to bring that into Moodle and to bring Moodle out in there. So, for example, look at Moodle.org. Those discussions we have inside Moodle.org, you can rate them to say if they're helpful, like just a 1 scale. You say, yes, I think this post is helpful. Those helpful, if you've done that, if anybody does that to a post in Moodle, it becomes part of a feed, an RSS feed of useful posts. And that RSS feed is pumped into Twitter. And so if you look at the Moodle Twitter handle, you'll see a lot of useful posts coming up. And so we just automatically made the Moodle stuff go out into the social network. And going back the other way, you can use blocks in Moodle to bring feeds back into Moodle. So you can do a lot of integration both ways with social systems. Question back.
Adolfo Juárez, Universidad Panamericana de México. Regresando al tema de las necesidades en Moodle, los profesores me han comentado que hace falta algún módulo o un plugin para capturar participaciones o en su momento asistencias. ¿Se tiene pensado algo así? La segunda sería la necesidad de profesores y alumnos hoy día de generar notas dentro de Moodle. Se tienen plugins como Evernote, de Google Docs, pero si no se abren esos repositorios no se puede tener esa integración. ¿Se ha pensado en algún momento en generar algún cuaderno electrónico, bloc de notas donde los alumnos y profesores puedan generar sus notas y almacenarlas en Moodle? Y por último, ¿cómo va la parte de la certificación de administradores?
The second question I didn't understand, actually. So the first one was about measuring attendance of things or activities. Was it all activities? If you turn on the conditional activities in the course, it's not on by default. If you turn it on, Moodle does keep track of how each student has completed each item. So maybe for a resource, you can say if they've read it, if they've looked at it, it's completed. Maybe for a quiz, you can say if they have got more than 80%, say, then it's completed. And then there is a report then that shows you all of the students. It's one of the standard reports, progress report. And it shows all of the activities, all the students, and it's a grid that shows what they have done. So that's probably what you're looking for. That's standard. There's also a progress block, progress bar block, which is good for giving that sort of feedback to students as well. But that's an optional plugin that you have to get. The third question about Moodle administration certification, there's no progress on that. It's just too hard. We don't have the resources to do that right now. So I would like to see that probably. One problem with these certifications is that, say you're an administrator and you sat for this, you did this Moodle administrator certification. That not you personally, but say someone did. What we have found, even with the Moodle course creator certificate that we have, that people then use this certificate to advertise their business. And they say, we are official Moodle providers. It conflicts with the Moodle partner program. So there's a bit of a problem with those certifications, and that it actually conflicts with the thing that keeps us going. But I would still like to see something like that to have. Second question you had, I didn't quite understand, about taking notes to make grades. So I can't answer it because I didn't know what you meant. Grading usually happens on activities, or it only happens on activities. And there's no other way. So you can also make notes, that's separate. So maybe you can explain it again, or...
Sí, no, va en el sentido de que durante la clase el profesor...
Is that the question? Is that what he was asking? Can you... Sorry, can you...
Va en el sentido de que durante la
Oh,
clase...
can you import offline grades? Of course. Yeah, so there's in the grade book, there's an import. And the import lets you import, say, an Excel spreadsheet where you have grades from something else. But inside Moodle, there is also an offline assignment. So you can make an assignment where you're not asking them to do anything. The description of the assignment could be create a beautiful sculpture out of brass or something. And presumably you've looked at the sculpture and you've graded it. So in the assignment module, in this assignment activity, then you put the grade for their sculpture. So it's not online. You're still putting the grades in. Hopefully that's what you mean.
Tenemos otra pregunta.
Mi pregunta es sobre los reportes que se generan actualmente. Mientras esté uno dentro de un curso, pues los reportes son bastante completos en cuanto a calificaciones y reportes de finalización, pero a nivel global o a nivel general de la plataforma no hay, por ejemplo, reportes que me den como un histórico de los estudiantes, qué cursos han tomado y cuál ha sido su nota completa de todos esos cursos. Me parece que hace falta un tema de reportes más global y más general, más como unificado, porque a nivel de cursos, bien, los reportes están bien, digamos, a nivel de curso, pero a nivel global me parece que falta mucho.
I completely agree. Do you remember before when I said I call Moodle a course management system? Exactly. The focus is on the course. It's not as much of a learning management system as it could be. And that is a big gap. And so one of the things I was talking about yesterday is that is a big focus on the roadmap. Right now we're working on the report infrastructure so that all the modules can publish information to the central reports. And that will definitely answer that question. Yeah. So yes, I feel that one too.
Bien, en la información existente en Internet sobre la herramienta de foros, dice que se puede instalar sobre servidores Windows, pero que su desempeño es mejor en Linux. Quisiera saber cuáles son esos inconvenientes técnicos al instalarlos en Windows, dado que es como de más amplio manejo para los docentes que trabajan con nosotros.
Don't use Windows. The performance problems on Windows are not Moodle's fault. It's PHP running on Windows. That said, I mean, Microsoft did put a lot of effort into improving PHP some years ago to run on Windows. So I think the performance is okay, but, well, still Windows. I'm not a big fan of Windows, maybe you can tell. Lots of people do use Moodle on Windows. I'm not sure what you're saying about teachers, because the teachers will probably not be installing Moodle directly on their own desktops. So even, obviously when we talk about Moodle on Windows, we're talking about the software of Moodle running directly on a Windows server. And that's a different matter. If someone has chosen Windows for a server, I assume they know how to use it and they'll be able to make Moodle work well. But a teacher will not normally be installing Moodle on their own desktop because it's not a very reliable place to be running courses for lots of students from. But Moodle, there's a Windows package you can download and run on your desktop, just for local use, maybe to work on your own courses, to practice, to try out things, to do development. So that's what that's for.
I have a question about the chat and the forums. And
Yes.
Have you used like real time to make it more useful and like beautiful? If you can say it.
Yeah,
For example,
forums or chat?
Forums and chat.
I think chat does need more work. maybe you want to help them with that. Yeah, that's good.